In Maya culture, are the rumors about Atlantis trustworthy? And why did ancient sages leave clues about Atlantis? The story may be more complex than you imagine. In Europe 10,000 years ago, an advanced civilization flourished, a magnificent civilization with colossal artificial structures standing on huge islands, with circular cities stacked layer upon layer. Until one day, a sudden colossal tsunami engulfed them, swallowing up this once thriving civilization, sinking it into the depths of the sea. This is the legend of Atlantis, also mentioned in the dazzling civilization of the Fourth Sun era in Maya culture. The legend of Atlantis was first recorded by the ancient Greek philosopher Plato. According to Plato, the rumors of Atlantis initially came from Egypt, and later, one of the 7 sages of ancient Greece, Solon, passed down this story. In Plato's account, there is this passage about 9,000 years ago, opposite the Pillars of Hercules Strait of Gibraltar. There was a great island. From there you could reach other islands, and beyond those islands was a whole land surrounded by the ocean, which was the kingdom of Atlantis. At that time, Atlantis was about to engage in a great war with Athens, but unexpectedly, Atlantis was suddenly struck by earthquakes and floods, and within a day and a night, it completely sank into the sea, becoming an obstacle to Greek maritime navigation. Some scholars who study Plato's philosophy deny the existence of Atlantis for the following reasons. First, they believe that Plato's purpose was to promote the concept of the ideal state, so he fabricated the story of Atlantis to make it easier for people to understand. Second, he wanted to encourage the corrupt descendants of Athens at that time, so he told them that their ancestors had bravely fought against the ideal people, the Atlanteans, and defeated the legendary maritime empire, proving that the Athenians possessed a substance and power beyond all humanity, hoping to inspire the corrupt descendants of Athens. According to legend, the kingdom of Atlantis was created by the sea god Poseidon. On a small island, there was an orphaned girl whom Poseidon married and bore 10 sets of twins. Thus, Poseidon divided the entire island into 10 districts, each given to one of his 10 sons to rule, with the eldest son being the supreme ruler. Because this eldest son was named Atlas, the country was called the Atlantis Kingdom. In the central citadel of the mainland, there were temples dedicated to Poseidon and his wife, decorated with gold, silver, bronze, and ivory. The coast of Atlantis had shipyards with warships equipped with 3 tiers of oars, and the docks were crowded with merchant ships and traders from around the world. The kingdom of Atlantis was very prosperous, not only because of the rich resources of the islands themselves, but also because of the constant contributions from Mediterranean countries such as Egypt and Syria. The 10 kings each held absolute power in their territories, each adopting different forms of governance. To maintain communication with each other, every 5 to 6 years, they would gather at the Temple of Poseidon to discuss their relationships and their ruling powers. When an agreement was reached, they would cut the throat of a sacrificial cow in the Temple of Poseidon, using its blood to inscribe the resolutions on the pillars of the Temple of Poseidon, thus adding to the sacred and inviolable authority of the resolutions. The 10 kings were all wise, and their respective countries were prosperous. Unfortunately, these countries soon began to corrupt. Zeus, the head of the gods, in order to punish the people's degeneration, triggered earthquakes and floods, and the kingdom of Atlantis sank into the sea in a single day and night. In Plato's story of Atlantis, it also implies that the writing used in Greece before Plato's time was different from the Greek writing used in Plato's time. For over 1,000 years, people have been searching for traces of the Great West Continent, attempting to verify Plato's claims, but to this day, there is no concrete evidence to prove the existence of the Great West Continent. The architecture of Atlantis is concentric circles separated by ships. As one progresses deeper into the center, identity restrictions become increasingly strict. The innermost circle is the most important temples and reserves, and the beauty of the city's architecture evokes a sense of musicality, with gilded round roofs emitting harmonious sounds due to varying wind and temperature. One of the important features of Atlantis is its repetition of lines 3 times, with buildings grouped into 3 sets of similar structures, forming 3 pyramids. The streets of each layer of the city are diagonally distributed from one corner of the coast to the other, with many intricate underground passages still remaining. The capital of Atlantis is Poseidonia, representing the essence of the Great West Continent, a concentration of culture, art, and craftsmanship. This is a monumental city, a model for other nations. According to the prophecy legend of the Mayan calendar, the world inhabited by human beings has undergone 5 cycles of destruction and rebirth, each cycle being a so-called sun era, and it is believed that at the end of each era, a thrilling tragedy of destruction occurs. The 4th sun era is Xantlilik, the Atlantis civilization, also known as the civilization of light, which inherited the previous civilization. Here, the term inheritance is used because Atlantis was colonized by settlers from Orion. They possessed the power of light, causing the destruction of the earth under a rain of fire. Atlantis was established during the Lemurian civilization period. Later, there was a war between these 2 civilizations. Atlantis, also translated as Atlantis, has similar accounts in ancient Mexican manuscripts stored in the Vatican City, the Vatican Codex, and in surviving works of the indigenous civilizations of present-day Mexico. There have been 4 generations of humanity on Earth. The first generation of humans were giants who perished from hunger. The second generation of humans perished in a great fire. The third generation of humans were apes who perished from killing each other. Later, the 4th generation of humans appeared, namely the humans in the sun and water stage, and the civilization of humans in this stage perished in a catastrophic flood. Modern science has discovered that before the Great Flood, there may indeed have been a continent on Earth, which was already highly civilized, and in a global catastrophe, this continent sank into the Atlantic Ocean. And in the past century, archaeologists have found relics of prehistoric civilizations on the Atlantic seabed, seeming to confirm this hypothesis. In folklore, people call this land Great West Continent, and the kingdom that nurtured the prehistoric civilization is called Great West Country. In fact, the scientific community has long named this mysteriously disappeared continent, using the name proposed by Plato, Atlantis. The legendary submerged Great West Continent is located near the center of the Atlantic Ocean. The core of the Great West Continent civilization is the Atlantis continent, with magnificent palaces and temples dedicated to the guardian god Poseidon, the sea god in Greek mythology. Around the capital Poseidonia, there are double-layered circular land and triple-layered circular canals. On 2 circular land, there are cold springs and hot springs. In addition, shipyards, racecourses, barracks, stadiums, and parks were built on the continent. This is the image of Atlantis depicted by the Greek philosopher Plato, and since then, this ideal state has become the sacred paradise that everyone yearns for. As archaeological excavations deepen, British scholar Scott Elliott pointed out that Atlantis had reached the pinnacle of human civilization at that time. On the other hand, in Africa's Sahara Desert, a place has been discovered whose detailed features are astonishingly similar to descriptions of Atlantis from thousands of years ago. This place is called the Richat structure, also known as the Eye of the Sahara, located near the town of Oudane in central western Mauritania. This peculiar circular feature is believed to have been formed by asteroid impact, although there is currently no credible evidence to prove this assumption. In the mid-19th century, American archaeologist Dinelli, through lifelong efforts, published the research results Atlantis, the Ancient World, and was thus hailed as the father of scientific Atlantis studies. Dinelli proposed a total of 13 principles regarding the Atlantis continent. Dinelli's 13 principles seem to answer questions about human activities, including those recorded in the Bible. Many customs of ancient Egypt can be found in strange imprints. In ancient Mexico, in the murals of the Maya, patterns similar to those of the tombs of ancient Egypt can be easily found. Such coincidences are too numerous to list, and the cultural and customs between these two regions must have some kind of inevitable connection. Although there is no evidence to prove the existence of ancient continent civilization on the seabed of the Atlantic Ocean, some people still firmly believe in Atlantis.